Question 21 is asking us to determine the equation of a line with an x-intercept of -6 and a y-intercept of -5. So we know the general equation for an equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So to answer this question, we just have to figure out what m and b are for this line. And our question actually already gives us the y-intercept, tells us it's -5, so we can just plug that in for b. So the question tells us that b is equal to -5. So the equation of our line so far is y equals mx minus 5. All right, so now we have to figure out what m is, and m is our slope. To start, I'm going to write out some more information that this question gave us. So by giving us the x-intercept and y-intercept, the question gave us 2 points that are on the line that we're trying to find the equation of. So with an x-intercept, at -6, this is telling us that when x is -6, y is 0. So we have a point at -6, 0. And with our y-intercept, this is at -5. This is telling us that there's a point at x equals 0 and y equals -5. So now we have the coordinates for 2 points on our graph, and I'm just going to call this first one x1 and y1, and the second one x2, y2. So now we can figure out our slope from these 2 points. So our slope, is equal to rise over run of our line, which is the same as saying the change in our y values between 2 points over the change in our x values. So we can rewrite this as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So now I'm just going to plug in the values we have for y2 and y1 and x2 and x1. So y2 is -5. We have -5 minus 0 on the top. x2 is 0, and we're subtracting x1, which is -6. So -5 minus 0 is just -5 on the top, and 0 minus a -6 ends up being plus a positive, so we have +6 on the bottom. So this tells us that our slope is -5 over 6, and that's as much as we can simplify that. So let's plug this in for m in our equation. Get y is equal to -5 over 6 times x minus 5. So that's our equation of our line. But you might have noticed that the answer at the end of the homework has this equation in a slightly different form. So I'm just going to show you how they got to that different way of writing this. And so to do that, I'm just going to write this a little bit differently. This is the same as saying y is equal to -5x over 6 minus 5. And then we can get rid of this fraction just by multiplying both sides of our equation by 6. So I'm going to multiply this side by 6 and this side by 6. Sorry, that's a bit squished there. This gives us 6y, and then I'm going to multiply this 6 in. So I have 6 times -5x. Oh, sorry. So when I multiply this in, this is actually going to cancel out the 6 at the bottom. So I'm just going to have -5x for this term. And then I have 6 times -5, which gives me -30. And we can rearrange this by, just going to move up here and rewrite this. 6y minus 5, sorry, equals negative 5x minus 30. I'm going to rearrange this by adding 5x plus 30 to both sides of my equation. And so that gives me 5x plus 6y plus 30 equals 0, because this cancels out on this side of the equation. And that's just the way it's been written in the answers, but that's the exact same equation as we wrote for in the form y equals mx plus b.